Hi guys, welcome to the Aries full moon forecast. This is going to be a very interesting full moon. Let's take a look at the chart. Here we go. So the full moon in Aries is happening on October 20th, Wednesday morning, and it'll be 10:57 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. This full moon is going to be really, really potent and bring up a lot of all of those things that are restricting for you, that have been holding you back. The traumas, all of those past relationships that you haven't released, like the things that you see for yourself within yourself, how you're holding yourself back. Because we're all sort of stepping into our inner warrior. Real quick, we have a new workshop coming up this weekend. The Trauma Body Healing and Meditation Workshop is happening on Saturday. I'm inviting a special guest, Priya. She is a trauma body specialist, and she's actually worked energetically with me as well. And she's going to be joining us for this workshop, and it's going to be amazing. And we're going to learn how to relax our bodies, and we're going to learn how to meditate, and we're going to learn about nutrition stuff, just things to really help heal the trauma. Because when we have trauma stored in our body, it literally changes our DNA, and it can cause disease and make us unwell. So this is really I'm so excited. This is going to be a very special workshop. So I hope to see you guys there. All of that information is in the description box. And I bring this up, and the reason why I wanted to do it this weekend, along with it being Priya's birthday on Saturday, but the reason why I wanted to do it this weekend is because this full moon is giving us an opportunity to really fully step into our power, but we have to make room for that. So we have here, you can see, so with a full moon, again, that means that the sun is directly opposite the moon, creating the fullness. And we have Mars conjunct the sun still. We still have Mars conjoin that sun. And so we're still getting that push of all of this energy that we've had. And things feel like it's really, really speeding up, especially since Mercury went direct this week. And we also had Jupiter go direct this week. So time, Saturn went direct earlier in October. Time has really started to speed up. And so this full moon is showing you how to better handle that, so handle all of this speeding up time. There's a lot of space that needs to be made so we can continue on our journey. I want to remind you guys that, the journey that we're on, the healing, the spiritual journey that we're on in this lifetime, however we choose to do that, it's always going to be a continuous thing. It's an infinite process. We're not ever going to be 100% fully healed in this lifetime. That's just not possible, but we can do the very best we can to become really aware, become very conscious of ourselves, and bring that alignment to ourselves. And this full moon is sort of activating wherever Aries is sitting in your chart. For me, for example, Aries is in my 7th house, which is relationships. So I'm going to see where this Aries full moon is showing me, where am I in relationships? How am I not standing up for myself? How am I allowing things to, just sort of fall by the wayside and not really saying the things that I need to say, and vice versa? How am I not allowing other people to speak to me as well? If I'm not being open and receptive to the way that other people are, coming at me, and how I'm receiving other people, that's something that we very much have to look at in the 7th house as well. So I say this, so we have this really big burst of energy, which whenever we have big bursts of energy in the cosmos, things can slip up. We can trip, we can forget, we can, there's all of these things that could happen. But we also have Mars, which on Thursday after the full moon, Mars and Pluto will be square exact. Right now, Mars is about 1 degree away from, well, not right now, but during the full moon, Mars will be about exact 1 degree away from squaring Pluto. And so we're still going to be feeling that in a big way. Mars squaring Pluto is a lot about the power play when it comes to taking action in our lives. People can become very, very ruthless under a Mars square Pluto. And since we've been feeling that energy today, since I'm doing this video on Tuesday, today Mars is trining Jupiter and things feel really lovely. And that shift is sort of going to happen as Mars gets closer to moving away from Jupiter and moving closer to squaring Pluto. We're going to feel the jovialness of it, of the energy is going to kind of start to fall away. So, but with Mars squaring Pluto, this is why with this full moon, I wasn't really wanting to do any kind of meditations, or I'm not going to put my crystals under the moon to charge, anything like that. And it's only because Mars is considered a malefic planet and Pluto is considered a malefic planet. And I don't want anything negative. For me, I am not inviting anything negative into my life anymore. For me, it's all about, really bringing that calm energy into my life. And so I don't want to invite any of that in. And you guys can do as you wish, however you want to do that. But I also want to remind you that the moon will also be squaring Pluto as well. So we're going to have Mars squaring Pluto, the sun squaring Pluto, the moon squaring Pluto. It's going to be very triggering. It's not going to be this isn't going to be an easy moon to get through if we have things that we haven't finished business with, right? Like if it's unfinished business, this is going to be a tough one. We also still have Mercury up here in Libra, just opposite Chiron, which is in Aries as well. And so there's that triggering. We've been talking about this for a while with Mercury being opposite Chiron for several days as Mercury is direct now. That's just a really, really triggering aspect to have in a big way. I think the biggest message for this full moon is to remember your own inner warrior. There's a lot of feminine energy that's at work right now. You can see that Lilith here is in Gemini, and even Lilith is opposite Venus as well. So there's a lot of feminine energy, a lot of feminine feminine or showing up for themselves kind of energy, and really putting forth this is our time, this is my time. And when I say feminine energy, I don't just mean women. Everybody, males and females, everybody has feminine energy within them. And so the more that we are able to tap into that, which is the intuitive side, the flow side, the one where you actually feel your emotions, you allow yourself to get in touch with those deep emotions, because of the feminine emotions run very deep. And the more we allow ourselves to dig under the surface for those emotions, the easier it is for us to heal, and the easier it is for us to feel better. And I don't know about you guys, but every time I'm triggered with something and I have to go through that, and it's like the tension and everything is building up and building up and building up, and I just feel like I'm a pressure cooker and I'm about to explode. I allow that release to happen, whether it's in a scream, whether it's in a really massive, usually it's crying is involved. But once I let that go, I feel lighter. I feel so much lighter. And I even physically, the weight is falling off as I release these burdens, because I'm not as stressed, and my anxiety and the cortisol in my body. So do you see how the emotions we have are attached also to the way that our physical body, and this whole chart is giving us the opportunity to release a lot of things. So if you feel like you've been holding on to stuff, I've already been through that process. The last couple of days, I've had really big releases. I've noticed areas in my life when it comes to the relationships I have with other people that I'm ready to, maybe even think about mending some, you know what I mean? It's like there are things coming up where I never thought that I'd want to mend a particular relationship, or I'd never wanted to reach out to somebody. I thought that I was done, and I'm at that point where it doesn't matter how they receive me. I want them to know that I'm thinking about them. I want them to know, and if they don't receive that very well, then they don't receive that very well. But at least I told my truth, and at least I stood up for myself. And if they say I never want to see you again, then I have to honor that as well. But this full moon is about showing us where we need to show up for ourselves and stand firm in that truth and really, really honor that. So I'm going to do some cards. And we're getting super nostalgic with these cards because you guys get this. And it's amazing this deck is in such good shape still. This is literally the deck that I taught myself how to read on. It's the Gilded Tarot, and it's the original one. It's the original one. So yeah, it's really interesting. And so we're gonna do it. We're gonna check out what we get for an Aries full moon reading. Oh, I can never tell which one has popped. Oh, there it is. Okay. All right, so. Nice. All right, this is wonderful. These are really great cards. Okay, so we have the Three of Wands. We have the Knight of Pentacles. We have the Ace of Cups. We have the Hierophant, and we have the Eight of Cups. Some of you are waiting for a commitment from someone. Some of you are waiting very, very patiently, I might add, for a commitment from someone. And if it's not necessarily a commitment from someone, it might be you're waiting for somebody to approach you. You're waiting for somebody to show up for you. And it's happening very slowly. The Knight of Pentacles is one of those things where slow and steady wins the race, where like things aren't going to happen very quickly. And we have to remember that. During the time that you're waiting for someone, and we're going to get back to that waiting part here in a minute, but during this time, you've really had to tend to your own emotions with the Ace of Cups. There's this, and this is so Aries, even though Aries is fire, we're working on an Aries moon, and the moon is about emotion. So emotions is water, right? So we have the cups here. And the Ace of Cups for me is about self-care. It's like if we can't fill up our own cup first to where it's overflowing, then how can we give back to other people? And that was a very hard lesson I had to learn. One of the things that's not making this Ace of Cups fill up to its overflowing point is the fact that you're waiting for somebody to show up for you when you need to show up for yourself. This isn't about how other people can create happiness in your life. This is about how you're going to find your own happiness and create that for yourself. Oh, hold on a second. Okay, wow. So there are solicitors that call the woods, I guess. All right, so really having to show up for yourself, because we're not playing the waiting game with other people. If you're waiting for something to show up for you, that thing that you are missing already exists within your very own being. So this is energy wasted. Then we have the Hierophant and the Eight of Cups. The Hierophant is about a commitment, a leveling up. It could be a spiritual leveling up. It could be a leveling up in a relationship. But a lot of times it could also be about societal standards. The Eight of Cups, though, what I really feel like is happening here is one of the things that society has programmed us to believe is that we just aren't going to be happy unless we are in a relationship, period, right? Whether it's a happy relationship or not. And this was something that was maybe programmed in my generation, more like the Gen X generation, like if you weren't going to get married and have babies, then you weren't going to be generally happy. But here's the thing, you guys, is that's really changing. And whatever is going on, whatever it is, like that thing that you're really wanting to happen in your life and you're waiting for it to show up, and I feel like it might even be, some sort of nurturing or love or care in some way, at the end of the day, what happens is when we allow ourselves to walk away from that emotional attachment, that outside emotional attachment that we have to other things, we find our emotions within and we tap into that. And that becomes a much easier, becomes healing and peaceful. And you don't have to, like when you are concerned with your own emotions, you don't have to take care of other people's emotions. And I think that's the biggest thing. And you don't have to wait for the world to show up for you. You are the magician of your life. You are the creator of your life. And if anything, this Aries full moon is showing us how to stand up for ourselves and the things that might be holding us back from standing up for ourselves, right? So we have the magician on the 3 of Wands saying, you don't have to wait. You have all the tools already for you to get going, for you to get moving. And whether this has to do with a relationship or not, really, that shouldn't be, this should be about the relationship that you have with yourself, truly. So let's see, Knight of Pentacles. Well, and I know that the waiting, the Page of Cups on the Knight of Pentacles, the waiting is really difficult. That Page of Cups is very much about kind of pining. It's a pining feeling. It's like, I really just want this to hurry up and get here. Again, you are in control of how this is going to go. And if you continue, while you're waiting, quote unquote, waiting for things to happen in your life, make other things happen. Show up for yourself in all of the other ways. It doesn't have to just be in that one way. Let's look at this Ace of Cups. Because the self-care, when you start to love yourself and when you start to realize that you haven't been giving back to yourself very well your entire life, and then boom, you start to love yourself, it's amazing the things that you stop allowing to happen in your environment and in your space. Some of you still can't see that love for yourself. Some of that you're still wanting to see it from the outside. And that Two of Swords is like, it's very apathetic in a way. It's like, I can love myself so much, Betsy, and still bitterness. That bitterness means that you're still not loving yourself fully because you're still putting that anger out there, right? Somebody very smart said something like that to me about how when I'm projecting the anger or when I'm projecting that feeling within myself, it's not love, right? I'm not projecting love in any way. So that's where we sort of have to pivot ourselves. The Hierophant, King of Swords. Okay. So it could be a particular person. This could be that the fact that we're still, let's see, 3 days from now, the 22nd, we're going to be in Scorpio season. We're still in Libra season. But the King of Swords on the Hierophant, this is really about being tunnel visioned. And, we can allow ourselves to be tunnel visioned within what societal standards want and what everybody else wants us to do. Or we can allow ourselves to expand and we can allow ourselves to open up to, I want you to make a commitment to yourself. I want you to upgrade yourself. Because that King of Swords to me feels like an authority figure. And I feel like that there's too much. Some of you feel like you're way too trapped within the societal standards right now. And it's really hard for you to break free of that. The conditioning, the programs, the thinking of what you think life is supposed to look like based on the way that you were brought up, right? That's really how it goes. So the Moon and the Eight of Cups. So we've really got to release. We have to release the expectations that we hold within ourselves and with everybody else. We have to be able to be willing to say, even though I don't fully understand and I don't fully know what is happening or where things are going or how things are shifting or what I'm supposed to see out of this, even though we're not able to see that or even though we're not able to create from that in this moment, releasing it and letting it go and saying, I have faith, that's what brings the clarity. It's the recognition that there's faith. That's what brings the clarity. Let yourself hurt too. That 3 of Swords, because this is what we're healing in the full moon. And after that healing, we have the big shift. So we have the Tower and the Wheel of Fortune, the 3 of Swords, and the 2 of Wands. It's up to you to make the decision. The Tower and the Wheel of Fortune are going to happen anyways, because things are going to shift. Things are going to change. And that's just how it's gonna, the major arcana, the Tower and the Wheel of Fortune, those are the major arcana in our lives, right? And those are just sort of the inevitable shifts. Those are the maps. That's the road sign. These are the things that we need to pay attention to. But it has to change. So take good care of yourselves during this full moon. I love you guys. And if you want to do any kind of ritual, make sure it's some kind of taking care of yourself sort of ritual. Make sure that you are keeping a calm and cool kind of environment. I would not suggest going out and playing with people. There's a lot of fiery activity that's happening. So yeah, really like fire and air. A lot of fire and air is going down right now. So take care of yourselves. Please stay safe. I love you. Thanks for stopping by. Bye.